Do you wish you had a reference manual for all the cartridges ever made? Well, stick around. I've got a reference manual you might just be interested in. Cartridges of the World, authored by Frank Barnes and Todd Woodward, is a comprehensive guide into 1,500 rounds of ammunition, 1,500 different type of cartridges, current and past and obsolete and whatever. It is a complete guide to them, completely illustrated with ballistics and history of the cartridge itself, and over 600 pages of just completely full of information and well worth the reading. I ordered mine in January of this year, but due to publication issues, it was not released until just recently. And like I said, I just got it in yesterday's mail. I picked the book up to look at it, just give it a brief overview yesterday afternoon, and next thing I know, it's just almost an hour later, and I hadn't put it down. I'm just going through all the information. It's really quite interesting, and I didn't realize that a lot of these cartridges even existed, and they're talking about not only U.S. cartridges, but also foreign cartridges as well. Let me just go ahead and give you a peek into this book itself and show you some of the information that it does offer here. Here's a closer view of the front cover of the Cartridges of the World, 16th edition, by Frank C. Barnes and W. Todd Woodward. Again, has more than 1,500 cartridges included in this particular reference manual. This is not a collector's manual, mind you. This is just a reference manual to these cartridges. These cartridges are both current and obsolete cartridges, and gives you basically the history, some information on it, and ballistics and other technical data on it. So I'm going to take you through all 12 chapters here, just a little at a time. I'm not going to delve into it, otherwise this video would never end. But I'm just going to go into each chapter and just give you a little view of what they have to offer here. As with any book, you have your introduction. It tells something about the book, about the author. It goes into some specific information about the cartridges and how they were developed. And this particular book's got cartridge identifications. It gives you some general information on the makeup of the cartridges themselves. Examples of, for instance, example of head styles over here, as you can see. Then we have some color pages in here. And obviously these have got to be sponsored pages, otherwise they wouldn't have got such a good press here. It's about the Remingtons and 9mm. Here's one about 9mm. It's about, as titled, 9mm America's Favorite Cartridge. And it's got some stuff about the 9mm itself, the history of the 9mm, some ballistic information, and such. It goes through different little different type of cartridges, like 357 Magnum, for instance. And it's really got some really great information. I found this information basically interesting enough where I just kept reading it, and that's where my time went. I didn't realize I would spend so much time reading this. Okay, so let's take you through the rest of the book here. This is just the introduction part. Chapter 1 in this particular book covers current American sporting cartridges. It starts with the centerfire rifle cartridges. And as you can see, it shows different cartridges. And each chapter is arranged the same. It's got your historical notes about the cartridge itself, some general comment, and it's got data and factory ballistics information here in what it looks like a spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet form. It gives you everything from the bullet grains, the powder, the grains, velocity, energy, and where the source came from. In this case, it came from either Sierra or Spear, Hornady, just whoever they got their information from. Like I said, each chapter is showing the same basic information about the historic and general comments.
and it delves in with pictures of the cartridge itself. Okay, on to chapter 2. In chapter 2, they cover the obsolete American rifle cartridges, the centerfire sporting and black powder and smokeless cartridges as well. Again, with the same information showing different cartridges, your historical data, general information, and ballistics. This chapter is rather thick with all these different cartridges, some that I never even knew existed, it said, and where they came up with this information is just astounding. Okay, Chapter 3 covers Wildcat cartridges, which compose of rifle and handgun. Again, it does have updates. It tells in this latest edition what kind of updates they have from their previous editions here. Again, this is a rather thick chapter here, but it just gives you some definitely information that's useful, maybe not for everyday use, but just for general knowledge. Moving over to chapter 4, we have proprietary cartridges, rifle and handgun. These are all specially made. As said here, Swiss minigun, rimfire, 7.17 incinerator inert, 224 to 32 Freedom Arms. Interesting information here. Chapter 5, my bad. Handgun cartridges. These are covering current and obsolete black powder and smokeless. And we have 3mm Colibri, I believe that's how it's pronounced. 5mm Clement Auto. Like I said, just stuff that you never even had heard of before. 7.7mm Bittner. 327 Federal Magnum. 38 Special High Velocity 38 Smith & Wesson. 357 Atomic. I'm not sure where. I've never heard of the 357 Atomic. Basically it's a plus P cartridge, but interesting nonetheless. Okay, moving right over to chapter 6, we have military rifle cartridges, both current and obsolete, black powder and smokeless, like previous chapters. These have some Belgium ammo, Soviet, some British over here, Servant, NATO. Here's some NATO rounds of the 5.56, which is obviously current, you know. Got some Chinese rounds, Italian, Swedish, Chinese again, Enfield, Mauser, British. Quite a selection here. Going to chapter 7 is dedicated to British sporting rifle cartridges. Again, current, obsolete, black powder, and smokeless. The whole gamut here. I think once you pick this book up, if you're interested in firearms at all and the history of ammunition, you probably have the same problem I do. You probably put it up or pick it up and not put it down for a while. Alright, moving over to chapter 8. They cover European sporting and rifle cartridges. Of course, each chapter gives you a good overview of the chapter itself and the cartridges themselves. Okay, chapter 9. We get to the American rimfire cartridges. And some of these will probably look more familiar to you than some of the previous ones. Okay. Moving to chapter 10, and as we move along, the chapters get shorter and shorter, so there's still full of information, but just not as much as the previous chapters where they were discussing the cartridges themselves. In chapter 10, we have the shotgun shells here. And interesting little things like lead toxicity issues. Of course, you know, if you get shot with a shotgun, especially 12, double-aught buck or something like that, you're going to have some lead toxicity issues anyway. And it talks about different types of slugs here. Let's see, I'll put that up again so you can see that. And I actually had some stuff in here about shotguns, like 4-gauge. I've never really heard of 4-gauge, or the 4-bore Hubble, or however you pronounce that. And gauges I've never really heard of either, so they're both either in here as obsolete or just very rare. Okay, chapter 11, getting close to the end of the book, is about U.S. military ammunition from 5.56 to 20 millimeter. And here we have more or less no real images, but we have the specifications here, like the 30 caliber carbine, the 5.56. Have 30 caliber here, 7.62 NATO over here. 9 millimeter, 45, 50 caliber. This doesn't have the images of the cartridges themselves, but definitely gives you information such as what weapons are used in, the ballistics, and the cartridge information itself, the grains and primer information, stuff like that. Moving to our last chapter, chapter 12, which is very intense information-wise. It's cartridge specification by measurement. And here, I'll zoom in a little bit here. Okay, here you show, I guess if I get a little light here. Okay, cartridge, it has a cartridge here in numeric order from size, ranging from 2.23 or 2.34, that is, all the way down. It gives you the case type, bullet diameter, neck diameter, shoulder diameter, base diameter, rim thickness, case length, cartridge length, primer, and what page you can find it on. This is basically if you have any question about a specific cartridge itself. Let's just say you wanted to, I'm going to make this simple here. Let's say you wanted to look up I'm just picking one, a 22 Spitfire. You just go through here until you find 22 Spitfire, which, like I said, they're in numerical order. Here's 22 Spitfire right here. I just picked this at random right here as I was doing it. It gives you the case type and all that information I just told you, plus it says what page it's on, 253. So if we go back to 253, and I just got lucky to get almost right there, 253, page 253 here, as you can see, 22 Spitfire. And I just looked that up in real time, so, the last chapter, as far as the contents go, the cartridge and where you can find information on it is very, very helpful in this manual itself. And again, pull up a cartridge, look up the page, go right to it, gets you information on that page. So, that's my brief synopsis of Cartridges of the World. I think this is a very good reference manual. Like I said, it took a while to get it from Amazon. I got it from Amazon. It runs about $35. And also, I'd like to make note that I'm not being compensated for this review of this particular manual. I just happen to be so impressed with it, I figured I'd share it with other people. It costs about $35 on Amazon, 16th edition. Cartridges of the World. I think it's worth giving it a shot if you are interested in this type of information.
Well, that's about it, guys, on Cartridges of the World Volume 16. It's available on Amazon for about $35 Prime, a little bit more off Prime. Your shipping should not be as long as mine. Like I said, when I first ordered it, it was on back order or pre-order actually, and then there's some publication issues and delays, and finally, after several months, I finally received mine yesterday, and it was well worth the read and well worth the wait. So I hope you decide if you want to go ahead and purchase the book. I'm not getting anything from it. I am not getting any type of endorsement or any kickbacks or any compensation for this video. I just found the book entertaining and informative, and figured I would pass this information on to you all if you decide you want to check it out for yourself. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave your comments and questions below. I'll answer them as soon as I can. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel and click that bell to be notified of any upcoming videos. And if you can, swing over to the Patreon channel, my Patreon channel that is, and if you choose to support me, feel free to. It's not mandatory, obviously. And until next time, guys, make sure to remember the men and women in our armed forces, our law enforcement, and our first responders. Till next time, guys, be safe out there.